Live. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Rahul. So, today in this session, we'll be talking about tuples. Tuples are data types. Tuples are data types, and it essentially consists of values that are separated by commas. So, we'll go through all the examples and details about tuples using examples. So, I've created a list of examples for you. So, how do we create a tuple? A tuple can be created by giving values, and each value has to be separated by commas. This is the first way of creating a tuple. So in this case, the first tuple, the name of the variable first tuple or the name of the object consists of these values, and if we try to print the content of first tuple and as well as the type of first tuple and the length of first tuple, so we'll get three outputs. So let us see what is the output. So we got the output, right? The first tuple, we got the values of the first tuple enclosed within parentheses. So whenever we talk about tuples and whenever we get an output, the output is always enclosed within parentheses. And as you can see for the second print statement, it tells us that this is an object of type tuple. You can always say tuple as tuple. And the third print statement, we are just using the length function and we are providing an object. So what it will do is it will return us the length of the first tuple or the number of items it consists of, and it consists of 5 items. As in the case of lists and strings, we saw that we can use this count method on list. So we want to see how many times this 201 occurs in this tuple. So I've created a variable result of occurrences, and this will consist of the number of times 201 occurs in this first tuple. So we are invoking the method count on the object first tuple. And if we try to print the content or the output, so what do you think? It is 1, right? Because it has only one occurrences. Suppose we try to again add some more values, and now the output will differ, isn't it? Now 201 occurs 3 times in this tuple. This is the first way of creating a tuple. The second way of creating a tuple is by enclosing all the values which are separated by commas into parentheses. In the first case, we did not use the parentheses, but in the second case, we are using the parentheses. So, if we try to print the content and the type, we'll see the content of this tuple, second tuple in this case, and the type as tuple. So you can see the first print statement is giving us the content of the tuple enclosed within this parenthesis. This is very important. And the second print statement is giving us that this is an object of class tuple. Very simple, isn't it? Like in the case of strings and lists, it was possible of indexing and slicing. So likewise, in the case of tuple also, it is also possible for indexing slicing. So the second tuple has this value. We need the item at index position 2. As we know that index always starts from 0. So this is the 0th index, 1 and 2, Somani. So this print will give us Somani as in the output. And this is the slicing notation, right? So I have omitted the first argument. So it by default it starts by from 0. It will go from 0 till 3. It will exclude the third index. So 0, 1 and 2 will get this output 19, 25.3 and so many. So we got this right, 19, 25.3 and so many for this one. So many for this one. Item at index position 2 is Somani 0, 1 and 2. So we got the Somani. We got this. We want a slice of something from the second tuple starting from 0th index and going till the second index. So 0, 1 and 2. So this second print gave us this output. We'll comment this. Okay, now we'll talk about mutability and immutability. I hope that in the past we have talked about mutable. What is mutability? In a general way, in a general speaking way, we can think about mutability is that something which can change. And immutability is the reverse of mutability. Immutable objects does not change. Okay, so as we can see, tuples are immutable in nature. They cannot be changed. Let's create a tuple. Print the content of tuple, and now we want to change the value at index position 0 to something else, maybe 23, and then print the content of A. So this code, because tuples are immutable in nature, so this code won't work. And as you can see, it is already giving us an error message. Problem. There's a problem. The problem is A does not support item assignment. Nevertheless, we'll try to print the content. We'll try to print, execute the code and see what error do we get. So we can see the error like this. What error? Type error. Tuple object does not support item assignment. So it means that tuples are immutable. They cannot be changed. But yes, we can always do something like this. This is a tuple. I am printing the content of this. Now again, I need to change something. but this code won't give us any error. Why? We'll talk about this later on. But this A and this A are totally different. I'll show you in just a moment. But first, let us run this code. The first print gave us 1, 2, 4, and the second gave us 1, 23, 67, and 8. But these two values, two objects are totally different in nature. And to prove this, there's a inbuilt function called id, which takes an object as the parameter, and it gives us the address of that object in memory. As we can see, the first object A, which was a tuple, the address of this one was this. And as soon as we created this one, what it did was it deleted this object, it created a new one, assigned a new address to it, and as we can see, this address is totally different from this one. So this proves that these two objects are totally different, and this is all immutability all about. I hope that makes sense and you have understood the concepts. As we saw that tuples are immutable in nature, but tuples can contain mutable items or mutable data types. So as we know that lists are mutable, we can change lists. So within this tuple, we have given two mutable data types, both are list. So the first print will give us this content, right? Now and I have some code here also. Okay. As we can see, we got the value in this tuple, right? That was not a very big deal, but the second print statement, what do you think that we'll get the output? We are trying to get the index, the item at index 0, but as we saw earlier, tuples does not, we cannot access items, right, like this. But because these are lists and these are mutable in nature, we got the output 1, 2, 3, right? Okay, clear this, again run it. The first, we got the entire content enclosed within this parenthesis. The first print we got, for the second print statement, we got the item at the index position 0. This was the entire item. The third print statement just print this dash 20 times. And this fourth print statement will give us the item at index position 1. Abhishek and Kumar, right? Comment this code. Now, this is a little different from the previous example. We are using this subscript notation 2 times. And what do we think that the output would be? Let us see. The first index, this first index is this one, right? And within this list, we are accessing the first index. So it starts from 0 and this one is the first index. The value is Kumar. So this will give us the value Kumar. I hope this is clear to you. Now this one, 0 index this value, and I am trying to pop. For now, let us only use this pop with no parameter, no argument. So what it will do is that it will go to this 0th index. This is the entire item, and it will pop. Pop by default pops the last item. So it will pop this third item, this 3 value. And then we have to see what is the output, right? So 1 and 2, 3 gets popped, right? We can also provide, for example, I need to pop the element at index position 1. The index position 1 is this one. The value at index position 1 is 2, and it has popped the value 2 from this tuple, and to be precise, from this list. Because this tuple consists of mutable items, mutable data types, so we can also use all the mutable methods. So for example, we can at index position 1, this is the index position 1, and we're extending this list. By extend, I mean to say that we are concatenating or we are adding something in this list, and Bihar gets added. So as you can see, you got the output, this output. And what about this? The first index of this tuple, the first index is this one, and within this, the 0th index, Abhishek. So in this case, it will print Abhishek. You got Abhishek, right? Tuples also allow us to nest. Nesting means tuples within tuples. So let us see how it works. And this also implies with list also. So in this case, there is a nested tuple. This is a tuple, and within this tuple, there are 3 more tuples. So if we try to print the length of this nested tuples, it consists of 3 items, 1, 2, and 3, right? So we got the output as 3 because that it consists of 3 items, right? Had I added some more values, for example, now this nested tuple consists of 4 items. I am trying to get the item at index position 0. This is the tuple and it will give us 1, 2 and 3, this tuple, this print statement. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3 because we are accessing item at index position 0 and index position 0 has this item 1, 2 and 3. So now this print statement will give us, first it will go to the first index in this nested tuple. This is the first index and within this first index it has a tuple and within this tuple we are accessing the second index. Second index is 0, 1 and 2, 6. So the value is 6 in this case. The value is 6. I need to be sure that I am live or not because I'm not getting any. Just a moment, guys. Now there is a contradiction when we want to create when we want to create tuple which is either empty or which consists of 0 or only one item. So for an empty tuple, to create an empty tuple you just have to provide a set of parentheses with no values. And now if I try to print the type of empty tuple, it will show us that this is a type of class tuple and the length is 0, right? So the first print gave us that this is a empty tuple is an object of class tuple and it has the length has 0 items. The length is 0. If you want to create a sorry, if you want to create a tuple with only one item, so this is the wrong way of doing that. So that is why I've used a very long name, singleton tuple, the wrong way. Now I'm trying to print the content of the singleton tuple the wrong way, and I'm trying to print the type. And now let us see what is the output. This is good morning is the value of singleton tuple the wrong way, but I wanted basically a tuple, but it has created a string. Had this been, for example, this, so would this be a tuple? it has only one item, right? So let us see, the value is 1, but it is of class int. It is not tuple. So when we want to create a tuple of only one item, you have to use a comma. So we'll see this. I've already created this example. Singleton tuple the right way. Good morning, comma. Now print the content and let's see the type of this object. Good morning. As we can see, it is enclosed within this parenthesis. It shows us that this is a tuple and it's a class of, it is an object of class tuple. One more thing, the last thing which we need to talk about is packing and unpacking. What is packing all about? Packing is something like filling something in a container, and unpacking is doing the reverse, taking values or taking items from the containers, right? So I've just created a very short example, and sequence unpacking requires that there are as many variables on the left side of the equal sign as there are elements in the sequence. We'll see this with examples. So this example 1 consists of this tuple with heterogeneous values. By heterogeneous values means different data types. This is a string data type, this is an int, class tuple, and it gave us the content. This is a tedious job now. Now I need to unpack some values. So unpacking is this one. I need the value of name. I need to unpack this container. Let's suppose this is a container. So I need to extract or unpack this container. So, and all the value should go into this. So the first value Harshit will go in this variable name. The second will go in age, and like so on. And if we now print the content of name, age, city and gender, will get Harshit 20, Minneapolis and male. Right? We got it? So this is unpacking. But we mentioned here, like I wrote it something, sequence unpacking requires that there are as many variables on the left side of the equal sign, as there are elements in the sequence. Now this sequence, example, sequence by sequence, I mean this one, right? Example 1 in this case. So this sequence consists of 4 items. Suppose we omit this one. It will give us an error. This is a problem because I have to unpack the entire content of this container. I can't leave, right? So I have to provide one more value here, one more variable. Nevertheless, let us see what is the type of error it throws us. Value error. This is the error it has given or threw. Too many values to unpack. So if you are providing more than less value or more value to unpack, it gives us the error. So that is why, you have to provide as many variables on the left hand side as there are items in the sequence. Now this will not give any error to us. Guys, I hope now you are very comfortable with this data type called tuple. It is a sequence data type. By sequence, items are stored in sequence, right? And that can be indexed. There are some data types that are not sequenced in nature, like sets, which we'll be talking about in the forthcoming sessions. A tuple consists of values that are separated by commas. It can be indexed. Now, question mark, I should delete this one, right? It can be nested, yes, we have seen this. It can be sliced as well, and this is immutable in nature. So guys, if you have any question, I am just waiting for your questions. I'll be happy to solve it. And if you have totally understood, so then also please comment. Okay, so maybe we have some 6 more minutes for the session to continue. So we have seen strings, we have seen lists, we have talked about tuples today. So these are all data types. So now let us see the attributes of all the data types. As I said earlier, lists are mutable, they can be changed, right? So now I've created a list called A, which consists of 3 items, 1, 2, and 3, and I've assigned A to a new list called B. B is also a list, right? And now I'm trying to change the value at index position 0 of list A, and let us print the content of, first let us print the content of A comma B. Oh, okay. The first print A gave us this one, 1, 2, 3. Because we assigned the value of A to B, so B also consists of the same values. So it also gave us the same value 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. print A comma B. As soon as I change the value of this list A, and now I'm trying to print both the content, B also got changed. Why? Because this is mutable, and we can see the ID of A and B. ID gives us the address, the memory location where this object is stored. So both have the same address, right? So this is mutable in nature. Now we'll talk about strings. The same example but with a string. N is a string and the value is test. I'm assigning n to m, print the content of m and n and ID of m and n, right? Test comma test for this print, and ID is both the same, right? Now this print now gave us, I changed the value of n, right, to test1. It altogether created a new object and assigned a value of test1 to it. As we can see, in this case, the ID of m and n was same, right? But now in this case, the ID of m and n are very different. You can see the ID of this n is this, and this ID of m. We changed n, so it created a new string and the address is different, but we did not touched m, right? So it is staying in the same memory address location. And now the third, which we have talked about, the same example, tuple. T is tuple. Now I am assigning u t to this u. Print the ID of both t and u. Print the contents of t and u. And now in this statement I am changing t, and then we'll see what happens. ID is both the same, right? Because we have assigned u to t, t to u, sorry. And assigning means they are referencing to the same memory, to the same object and to the same memory location. The second print gave us the value 1, 2 and 3. Now we have changed the content of this tuple t. So this last print statement, this first t gave us this, right? The ID of t is this one, which has changed. And ID of u is a tuple, right? And it is the same as the previous one, this previous one, right? So this is all about mutability and immutability. You can also go through the documentation and go in depth if you really want to dive deep into mutability and immutability. And I hope the time is over, guys. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, please do. send me the questions.